trains coming out of London has developed a fault and terminated here at Reading. The train needs to be towed back to the Old Oak Common for repairs. We've called you off your break to be the driver of this rescue move. A Class 66 is being brought out of Reading Depot, just to the west. Meet the locomotive when it arrives in the station.
Hi, and I'd like to welcome you to my dragline preparation tutorial, kind of. This is the second attempt I've had at doing this. The first time I did this was when I had the game quite early on, so I was using the button controls, but this time I'm trying it with the manual controls for the most part. Also, I don't have objective markers on anymore, as you can probably guess, so there's no visual sort of markers around as there would have been if you've got everything. So I've turned a lot of that off now. I also have the safety systems on, so that's, for those who don't know, that's your DSD, that's your driver safety device, or otherwise known as vigilance. It's also your AWS, your automatic warning system, which warns you the aspects of the signals and PSR magnets, etc. Permanent speed restriction magnets. That also activates TPWS, which is train protection warning system, which is a feature that you do have on this route on TSW, but it's very few and far between, and it's a bit sensitive as well when you do have it. So this mission, basically, as you just heard from the young lady there, you've been taken off your brake. Yep, I mean, all drivers get taken off their brakes. Well, anyway, so you have to wait for your mate to bring in a Class 66 from Reading Depot, and then you have to go over to that HST over there, as you can see, because it's in a bit of trouble, and we have to drag it to Old Oak Common. But first of all, it's got to come in, and then we've got to go up to Kennet Bridge in reverse. So I've just skipped. So where is it now? I've just skipped a bit of time there because you're waiting around for a bit. So on the map, yeah, there it is, just coming into platform 14, which is where you are now, so where you have to head over to. I can just see it in the distance coming. Yeah, you stand there for about a minute or two, so I'll just fast-forwarded time slightly there, save any boring waiting around. So yeah, so the 66 will come in, and then we just got to jump on, set the cab up, and then get ourselves over to Kennet Bridge, loop, which is about just under a mile away from Reading, change ends, and then come back down, and rescue the HST from platform 8. Now, if you notice, a Turbo Network Turbo Class 166 just leaving now as we arrive. Just be prepared that that stops virtually all stations down towards London. Last stop being in Broadway. So that's a little bit of a tip for you for later on. So yeah, let's get on board then. Try to follow the instructions with this. You may have played the game many times and get used to things, but follow the instructions, otherwise it goes a bit skew-if. So first thing I do is put all my safety systems on. So on the 66, it's the back cabinet. Open the door, flick your DSD isolate to unisolated, and your AWS TPWS to put the supply fuse on. Then you've got all your safety systems on there, and then get yourself in the cabin. Follow the instructions, basically.
Get that locomotive over to the failed HST and hook it up. Head out to the Kennet Bridge loop, and then you'll get a pass back into Reading Station.
So yeah, as you can see, once with the safety systems on, when you activate the master key, your AWS will come on, and you have to acknowledge it. Now, the 66 cab, let's just turn, all the lights are on, so it's just making sure the tail lights are on this one. So the lights are already on, look. So just making sure the tail lights are on. Let's get them. The 66 cab is quite a difficult one to manoeuvre around. Because you've got things because they're literally to the sides of you, instead of being in front of you like a lot of the trains, they're actually to the sides of you. So let's pull the automatic brake release. The automatic brake release is pretty good on this. Now I use manual controls, as you can see, so if you hold it down, you see the needle in the middle goes right up, the needle to the right drops down, and your needles to the left, the two needles drop straight down. So what we're doing, you've got brake release, and obviously now I can get power and I'll be able to go. Now if you're using the buttons, what can sometimes happen is when you swap from cab to cab is that the brake, or when you come out the seat, is the braking can change from direct, from the train brake or the automatic brake to the direct brake. The direct brake won't do anything. So what you need to do is you need to press square if you're on a PlayStation, or the equivalent button, I'm not sure what it is on the Xbox, which will swap between the braking modes. It's a common mistake that people make. But I use manual mostly, and of course I can't fall for that trap. So let's just take it steady as we're coming out. It's around 30-40 mile an hour, but to be fair, there's no point us racing too much. When we get into Kennet Bridge Loop, even when we change ends, we do have to wait for an HST to come out anyway. So you if you're racing there, you're just going to stand there for a couple of minutes anyway. So I'm not going to rush. So they've got the signal to get us over. So that's the direct brake release there, which I suppose in a way is a sort of engine brake release, but it's not actually, to be honest. You might as well use the automatic brake in reality. It's not really much different. I don't tend to use that at all, but it's there. But I'll try and apply it just so you can see what it does or doesn't do. I think if you've got the automatic brake activated, that doesn't tend to work. Yeah, it's one of them. So just take so there's no point rushing. You'll cross over. You go into the loop. The loop is, so what will happen now is we'll cross. That line goes over to this fast. We'll just stay on this line, and then a loop appears just to the left of us, and we'll zing into that. As you can see, nothing happens when we put the direct brake on. So let's put a bit of, we've got 25 to go into the loop, so we'll just put a bit of brake on. The good thing about the automatic brake is you just put a bit on and then you can let go and it will hold the brake there, a bit like the notches on like older locomotives, but it's it automatically, you have to hold it to get what you want to let go. You will hold it. So it's quite a clever braking system, and it is quite responsive even when you've got a train coupled up. So we just need to get ourselves clear of the signal, and we'll get ourselves slowing down a little bit. Then don't want to slam to a complete stop, but like I say, we've got a bit of time. An HST has to pass us anyway, so there's no rush. So I've just got past the stop mark, but I don't really care. So there you go, bring to a stand, and then we need to change ends. So we've just got to shut the cab down at this end. So again, just follow the instructions. Don't divert away from the instructions, because normally when that happens, it throws a bit of a paddy. But yeah. So this is, I hate trying to get the master key on. You see, like the master key is like you push it in basically, but to find it with the cursor is really difficult. As you can, there it is. So, oh, come on, just go in. There we go. So there we go. So that's it. So that's in, sorted. So turn the tail lights. Obviously, we have to set all the lights to make sure that everything's all off. I don't understand why we have to turn the tail lights off. Surely you want tail lights on at the back, but hey. Unless, oh, mind you saying that, the 66 does, you control it. Yeah, you control it from the other cab, don't you? So let's get to the other side. Now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because we do, so I'm going to skip some of the time so we can jump straight in the cab and get on with it, because otherwise we'll wait. See, I've skipped ahead a minute there. So now just jump in, just set the cab up again like you would, turn all your lights on, yada yada yada. But like you see, like your lights are up there, but like I shouldn't really set the reverser first, because like I say, it throws a hissy fit if you start going off the instructions. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. If it detects you've already done it, sometimes it skips past it, and other times you have to turn off what you've done and turn it back on again. It can be really, really inconsistent, the scenario. But this is a nice scenario. It's one of my favourite ones, if I'm honest. So there you go. We're ready to go. We've just got to kind of get our brakes ready to release. The HST's already been passed, by the way. Sorry, I should have probably left it in the video, but it doesn't matter. The HST's already been passed, so... sorry, no it hasn't. There it is. So the HST's just coming past now. I thought it had been passed. I don't know why I thought it had gone past. Yeah, so there it is. I was messing about on the other side looking at stuff, so yeah, that's gone past, and now we've got a signal. It's quite a bit of a distance to when we cross over. So now that HST's gone, we've got a signal to get ourselves moving. Oops, let me whack that a bit. Whack that probably a bit too wide. You can get away with it because you're just an engine on its own, but you don't want to be flying. So now the next objective is to stop at signal T1685, which is 0.8 miles away. So that's basically the signal that protects the platform to go onto the HST. So off we go. You can see the 66 on its own picks up speed quite quick. It's a very powerful engine, as most of you rail enthusiasts, especially in the UK, I probably all know. So yeah, we'll just trundle along, and then we'll go over onto the down fast line. So we're on the down relief at the moment. Then we'll cross over onto the down fast. Then we just come to a standard T1685 signal, which will be at a red. But like I've mentioned earlier, using the actual manual controls in this locomotive is quite tricky. So I do find myself having to use some pad buttons, like for instance the DSD. But the DSD, to be fair, as you probably saw earlier, you can actually push the pedal down, which is on the floor, and just to the right, where that little sort of groove is, where you can actually press it from there, and you can actually press the DSD. Alternatively, you can press circle on the pad, on a PlayStation 4 pad. But it's very quiet. The audible alarm for it is very quiet. Now the DSD will go off. There's no activity on the throttle for more than 60 seconds. So if you don't, yeah, look, there's like it's going off now. So just press circle. What you can also do is press the pedal there like that. So we're just approaching the red, so I don't want to go too quick. Put a little bit of brake on. Got the AWS. Yeah. I'll just press circle for that because I'm concentrating on braking, and because the dome is just underneath the braking, I don't want to move away and then find I can't get to the braking time and end up spadding, and of course the game's over, isn't it? Spadding means signal pass the danger, for those who don't know. Oops, come to a strand a little bit too premature. So let's get see, the brakes are brilliant on this engine on its own, but when you've got it with a train, you do have to be a bit more forceful with it. So it's just knowing the balance. So I'll just drop the brakes off there. So that was a bit of an error by me. I just put a little bit too much brake on there. So off we go, needles back up, the two needles will drop back down, put a little bit of throttle on just to saddle up to the signal. So what would happen in real railway terms when you're going on top of another train, depending on the signaling type system, is you'd either be cautioned onto the train, but in some cases, and this is one of them, they can have what they call permissive working. Permissive is where you're given a reduced aspect in the form of two white dots on a signal against a red, which enables you to go beyond the red but at reduced speed and be prepared to stop of any obstruction in front of you because there is something in the track circuit section ahead. Now, in this scenario, for some reason, it says I've got to contact the signaller, as you can see, hold the D-pad left, and request to pass signal at danger. However, as you can see, two dots come up and tell you what platform you're going in. Okay. Now, in real life terms, if that happens, that is a signal you can still pass without getting authority from the signaller. Okay, unless you're at a station where it requires the signaller to ensure that you've got that aspect. Now, I don't think Reading is. I think Reading does have permissive working. I could be wrong. Correct me. But there is a permissive signal there, so I'm assuming there must be. Unless it can only be used in an emergency, from which then yes, you would have to talk to the signaller. But with this being the scenario that it is, if I was a driver doing this now in real life, I would already know that I'm going to rescue a HST. So I would already think, well, hang on, I should already have permission by the signaller to go on top of the train. So when he gives me the cat's eyes, as they call them cat's eyes, then I know I'm going on top of the HST. So we'll take a steady run. Don't have to go too fast. The train's in the platform, waiting for us. So. Is there platform 9 on the indicator or platform 8? I'm sure this is platform 8, but I could be wrong. But oh no, platform 8's when you go left in. So yeah, I think it was platform 9. But so let's get this train rescued. So yeah, we're going on top of it now. Just make sure you take it steady. I mean, you could whack up the speed and just slam your brakes in front of you, I suppose, if you really want to, if you're feeling brave. But because I'm doing manual controls, I'm trying to be a bit more careful. I love the fact that he says I've got 125 mile an hour speed in 950 yards. That's beyond the signal, beyond Reading. So what we've got to do now basically is stop in front of the train, stop in front of the HST and prepare to couple up. So that's what we're doing. So just got to take it steady. Then you see there's some AWS magnets around, but I think they control the signals beyond us. So there we go, take it nice and steady, just put a bit of brake on, so it just comes to a stand. Just. There we go. Right, so now we need to get the couplings out. So it will now start telling you to jump out your cab. Oh yeah, the number 2 end, the door's in a different place. You don't tend to use the number 2 end on the Class 66 as much, but yeah, it's in the middle as opposed to being on the side of the cab. So there's a booklet, get that out, lovely. And then we've got to go to the HST, drop up the bar, drop up the hatch, crouch down, and then just get smacked in the face by the buckeye, bang! It's relatively straightforward. Right, so now we've got to go and couple up, so let's get on to the 66. It feels like a cupboard in the number 2 end. Right, and then we just take it nice and steady, and then bolt up to the HST. Now you've got to be careful because you know it says 24 yards coupled to formation. That's actually not entirely true. It's not quite 24 yards. It's a bit short of that. I think the marker actually points at the HST cab itself, when actually there's a couple of yards between you coupling up and the cab, because it keeps. The thing is, it detects it from you as a human being, not the train. So you've already lost what, 2 yards, shall we say? I'm taking it steady. Oh God, there's taking it steady and there's taking it steady. So I'll let it roll. I don't want to rush too much. Like I say, that is a bit ambiguous because what it means is it's the distance from you to the cab of the HST. So it's 15 yards. When actually, if you notice as we get a bit closer, 14 yards, 13 yards. If you keep watching. There we go, couples, 13 yards and we're coupled up. So that is definitely between the cab, between you sat in the cab chair and the HST cab. It's a good distance. So yeah, sort of take your reverser because obviously we need to shut the cab down. So we'll get it all turned off, neutral, master key off. Turn all your lights off, of course. Bloody master key, honestly. Oh, I don't drive the 66 much, to be honest. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the services are pretty good, but they're just all the same, and it's always Freightliners. You don't get so many aggregate trains, which is annoying. So there we go. So right now we've got to prepare the HST for movement. Now, I think what would have been a nice move is if we had to pipe up as well. I think it's automatically piped up. It'd be nice if that was something we had to do. Right. So what we've got to do is get to the back of the train. Because we've got to set the... Oh, now look at that. What's that? It's like a graphical... I've never seen that before. It's the very first time I've seen that. It's like a river of green and grey. So there's a bit of a graphical glitch there. And it's the first time I've seen that. Never seen it before. It's gone now. So let's see what great number we've got. Oh, yes, the good old 00000. So, yep, we've got to get in and we've got to basically release the parking brake. So, turn the tail lights on, of course, to make sure that we've got rid of the back. So that's that dial just there. That's it, straight down. And then we've got to take the parking brake off, which isn't that, that's the emergency brake. That's the parking brake. And that's the parking brake to brake it off. So that you'll pull that and then the light to the right should go off. Now, because I accidentally pressed the emergency brake, I'm going to check the front cab. But something I suggest you always do before you decide to drive this... I'm going to go around here because that looks weird. That's just bizarre. It's gone, but I think it will come back if I walk up the side of the train. Now, what I would do if I were you, just to be sure, because this is something I've had happen to me before, is go into the front cab of the power car of the HST to make sure that the parking brake is definitely off. And given the fact I've pulled the emergency brake up, I'm going to check it anyway. So let's just jump in here. No, where are we going? Oh, back to the power car, you idiot. And then, the light's on, look. The red light's on to the left. Right, so just pull the parking brake out. should come off. Oh, there you go. Lights off. It'll come off. Oh no, it's off now. Ah, there you go. Lights off. So yes, we are good to go. So now you've done that, shut your cab door, get into the 66. Which for once has got a realistic number, 66149, because it comes up with all sorts. Signals off, look, with the peg to go over onto the relief lines. So let's jump back into number 1 cab, the big cab. With its 16 doors to get in. And you see I don't shut them, I don't care. They don't shut on their own either, locomotives. They don't shut on their own. Let's get all the light. Let's get the reverser set up. Remember, do everything in order, otherwise.
Once signals give you clearance, you're good to head over to Old Oak Common.
Just shut up and talk. So set up your reverser and all that, turn your lights on back on. This should be second nature by now and boring, relatively. And then, yeah, make sure we get the brakes off. Now remember now, you'll have a train, so the brakes will take a bit longer to release, and obviously they'll take more time to come on, so be a bit more patient this time. But there we go, nipples are all dropping down, lovely. The old brakes have hissed off, so to speak. And the signal's already off, we already know because we saw it, but if you want to check again, please make sure you do. See how the brakes are down, and we can give it the beans. Well, we'll just get the train moving first. So a bit of a test, yep, we're moving, so that's good to know. 32 miles per hour coming, it says we get there at 10:15, it's only 9:23. And although I did drop a hint earlier that you do, that turbo did go out in front, and it does stop. You do go on the relief lines all the way, and you do go at, obviously you're going at 75 miles an hour. So all I'm saying to you is, don't be too much of a speed demon. Try and stick to 75 miles an hour, which is the maximum permissible speed of the 66. If you be a bit of a speed demon, well, you'll find out what happens. But you end up standing, but if you get there too early, you end up standing at Old Oak Common outside, waiting to reverse in until 10:15. So just, if I were you, just take your time and enjoy it. So yeah, but to getting that nice and steady now, it's 40 miles an hour over the junction to cross us onto the relief lines anyway, so we don't want to be thrashing too much. You can give it some beans. I mean, the good thing is HS2 is relatively light compared to the freight trains. So have a quick look at us leaving out. Yeah, I mean, I really do like the graphics on this. But the HS2s are only 2+6 on the console versions. For space, for memory, but they've done that as a compromise to have more trains. Now in the scenario, apart from at the Reading where you see a couple of trains running round, you don't tend to see that many trains. But the service mode, I've noticed there has been a good improvement in the rather more trains. So there we go, we've got the feathers again to cross over onto the relief line. I don't know why we get feathers on the platform. Because we don't cross over. Or maybe it's, I don't know. But anyway, we've got feathers to go over onto the relief lines. It's 40 miles an hour over the crossing, as you can see there from the right hand indicator. You also notice that I do have, just to the signal, but I don't have what aspect it is. So again, the element of surprise, which I prefer, just to try and make it more realistic. I don't have any of the stuff in, no markers in front of me either. One, it's not less distracting. Two, makes you have to concentrate more, because obviously you have to be more mindful of your speed and of where the signals are. And three, doesn't slow anything. Not that it's slowed down too much, but it's just one. It's less things for the computer to process, for the screen to process. Let's have a little look. We're just crossing that junction. Can't beat an HT crossing the junction. Well, there we go. So we're on our way. We're all done. As you can see, it's relatively painless. So yeah. Basically, I hope you found this useful. Like I say, I've used manual controls. I've got the safety systems on, which I well prefer, and that's how I do it. So,
PlayStation